going to start at today is the one up by my office. And all around the gardens this week, you're going to see penstemon blooming. Now, I add penstemon to the garden because I have a cottage garden, even though it's more of a tropical cottage garden with warm colors. I do add cottage garden flowers to give it that ethereal, just wispy look. So penstemon is a good one for that. It also helps that the hummingbirds love it. Now, in our last video, you saw this gardenia and it was looking rough. And one of the things is when gardenias are coming out of winter, they tend to look anemic and just horrible. This one has gotten its right color and it is now full of buds. And I have this across from the main window that I look out of because my desk is right there. And I look this way when I'm sitting. And so I wanted it so that if I open the window, I can have the smell. More penstemon here and there. Now this bed is still in the works. I'm still adding plants. I'm still fluffing it out. And this bird bath needs some water. I found out that my big dog, Diego, loves to drink water out of the bird baths. We have a creek, he has a water bowl, but yet and still the bird baths are his favorite. So I don't even fight it anymore. He and the birds share because he doesn't do it all the time and they know when to time him. So another thing you'll notice are the Nicophias or the red hot pokers are blooming right there. And this is a beautiful iris. I have no idea what it's called. It started blooming this year. I literally screamed out loud because it's so pretty to me. I'll put a better picture on the screen for you. So here's more penstemon. There's more penstemon. There's more of the red hot poker. More of the red hot poker. And forgive the table. The table is actually my staging area for when things are transitioning off or out of the office. These are dahlias that I hope to get planted this week, and my tomatoes. There were peppers there. I planted those yesterday in the veggie garden, so I'm hoping to get these all done this week so I can clean the table off and we can now take our lunches out here. Another thing that you'll notice around the garden is my amaryllises are starting to bloom. This one is an apple blossom. And when this blooms, and this blooms at the same time, and normally it does, but I've replaced these this year. These are rainbow ascot euphorbia. It would make a very pretty show. This is a double tiger lily, and you'll see that in the future. Another form of lily, another form of lily. I love lilies, I love irises, I love peonies, I love hydrangeas, but my favorite flower are roses. Here's another gardenia that when we sit on the porch, we'll be able to enjoy the smell. Look at how many blooms are on this particular Nicophyia. And you'll also see dahlias all sprouted. There's one here, right here. And there's a cafe au lait back there. There's another cafe au lait over here. I kind of just mix them in for that true cottage garden feel. Now this moment in the garden is making me so happy. These irises are just about done. They're immortality, white irises that rebloom. But this is Miss Peggy Martin. This is her second season in the garden. She was a gift from my friend Teresa. And then these foxgloves in front, I'm telling you, with the Jacmani purple clematis, so pretty. A rose that started blooming today is this Carding Mill rose. Isn't it pretty? And then the Southern Charm verbascum pairs nicely with both of those roses. So from down here, this is a beautiful shot. Also getting ready to bloom are these calla lilies here and here. This is the rose Hermione. It's not quite ready yet. And there's another dahlia. This white stuff is wood shavings from the porch. I have carpenter bees that are going to town on my office porch. This is a Jacmani clematis, doing the absolute most this year. It is so beautiful. Look at the color on this. Just lovely. Backed up against the lemon cypress, so pretty. More irises that have gone over, and these are lilies that are to come. You'll notice I weave my roses, my irises, and my lilies in all over the This is a Westerland climbing rose. The last time we were here, more penstemon. The last time we were here, and more dahlia right there. She had not opened yet, but I mean, look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? But I will tell you that she has the best fragrance. I love to sit right here and smell her and just enjoy the garden and have this beautiful backdrop here. Japanese maple is looking really good this time of the year. And I had cut this forsythia back. I do every season after it has bloomed, and it's putting on a lot of growth. Here this is the shepherdess rose. I have two of these in the garden. This one is full of buds and has been blooming. There's one that's open back here. Isn't she precious? I need to come in this bed and weed it out, but I'm scared. I killed a copperhead snake in there in the beginning of the season, and yeah, a little bit apprehensive. I would have to put my tall boots on and just make a lot of noise to get that snake moving. This area here is looking lovely. Here's a white drift rose. This is Tretoscanthia. Look at the different colors. It depends on the soil, how acidic the soil is. So that one is more blue. Then I have purple, and then I have some that are actually pink looking. This is a rose called Zaid. Isn't she pretty? And that's backed up by a Wine and Roses Weigela. Everyone loves this little pink birdhouse with the Weigela in the back. And this is an Henri clematis. I'll bring you closer. Very pretty. Excuse me for the shaky camera at times today, y'all. My knee, I had torn a meniscus last year and I re-injured it this year. And I'm still a little sore. And so certain steps hurt, especially if it's an uneven surface. Here's a self-seated foxglove. I think it's seated in the right place. Please overlook this trellis. I have to replace it because it broke. I'm gonna try to secure it in the meantime, but look at all this show on this rose. I do not know the name. It's one of the oldest plants in my garden, and I think I bought this rose unnamed. But if you could, as you can see, she's covered in blooms. And I used to think she was a shrub because there was no instruction with her. I didn't know anything. So I kept cutting her back and wondering why I wasn't getting a lot of blooms. Well, this year I decided to just let her go. Well, last year. And this year she's rewarding me with, I mean, hundreds of blooms there, right? I have some more roses in this bed that have not started to bloom yet. I added 3 new David Austin roses, and they're in this bed. There's one here, one is over here, and one is over there. There's Bring Me Sunshine, Eustacia Vi, and Port Sunlight in this bed. This is my sensory garden, and we're gonna do a video soon talking about it, how to make you a sensory garden, the reason for sensory gardens, etc. Now, one of the things I want to share with you today is we have cardinal babies that have hatched. Cardinal babies that have hatched. They are still in the nest. See them? Their mouths are open looking for food. There are 3 of them. I'm going to move because I don't like to upset the mom and dad. This is my holding area of plants I need to get in the ground. And these are Rose Campion. That magenta color is beautiful. Semi-imposed on top of these gray stems. And that gray stands out in the garden because there's really not a lot of gray looking things. This iris is called Dangerous Mood. I purchased her from Walmart and she has responded by blooming this year. She's very tall. She's about 4.5 feet tall and has been blooming her little head off, and I'm not mad about it. That's a knockout rose, and that's a smoke bush tree. Look at this beautiful Japanese maple. And of course, my bowl of beauty peony is almost done blooming. Another thing that you'll see along the front border is this Walker's Low catmint, and there are 3 bunches in this bed, and then it's all along the front border. This is one of my favorite roses in the garden. It's called Crazy Love, and she is just beginning to open. She is more of a pleated type appearance. The color on the Crazy Love rose changes through the season, and I love that. The irises are done in here. This was a lavender iris here, and the Dutch irises are done. This is a red drift rose. More of that catmint. I just transplanted this here, hence why it's looking a little rough. This is one of my best areas in the garden at the moment. I'm telling you, it's just so pretty. So these pink roses right here are damask roses. And let me tell you, the scent. It is a classic rose fragrance, but it's a strong rose fragrance. Very few roses nowadays have that true, authentic rose fragrance. It does. And so I have it a lot of places in the yard on purpose. A matter of fact, I just transplanted some on this corner of the shade garden that I discussed was getting too much sun. And I know it'll fill that corner in a couple of years, which is good. So in the spring, that will be all pink right now. Another thing that's making me happy in this bed at the moment is this particular rose. It's called Crown Princess Margareta. Look at her, y'all. These are blooms that are going over, so they're not quite as vibrant. But look at, isn't that stunning? It was covered in blooms and still has a bunch more to go. More lilies that are going to be blooming here shortly. Lilies bloom in May in my garden. Irises, clematises, and you can see this clematis is so happy. Look at it's 2 of them, Dr. Ruppel and Sally Moser. You can see they're different. So happy here. This is Angel Face Rose. She blooms purple, and as you can see, there are buds. So I'm waiting. It'll be the first time she blooms. I planted her in the fall. Some more lilies here as well. More of that damask rose. And here's a peony that has bloomed for the first time. 1 bloom, but isn't that stunning? So pretty, and of course it smells heavenly. See that Westerland rose again? We just looked at it on the other side. More of this rose campion. I love the magenta with the blue purple of the tradescanthia or the Virginia's wort. Here's some more clematis. This is white. It's just opening. My neighbors have goats. This is Golden Celebration by David Austin. Look at that rose bloom. So happy here. This one is an older bloom, and then it's already lost a bloom. But it's covered with more. And this is the most blooms that I've gotten early in the season from this rose. So it really is happy that I moved here. Another lily that's coming. And then the fireworks clematis is just about played out. I need to come in and cut back some of these blooms, hoping to get a second good flush. I'm gonna let some of them go to seed and try growing clematis from seeds, and I'll take you along for that experiment. This is a oh so busy yellow knockout rose from Star Roses and Plants. I have two of them in the garden. This one is currently blooming. It's put on a lot of growth. Got it as a small test plant. It likes it here. We have birds in this one, remember? I think they should be fledgling soon, leaving the nest. This is our shade garden we worked on this season. And the woodland phlox is almost done blooming. That's those light blue purple that you have. There's one here. But look at all the hostas, how they're filling out. This is obedient plants that I did not plant. I'm going to come back and pull them out because I don't want them there. This oak leaf hydrangea is looking so lovely. Should get some blooms on it next year. And then this bed is all lush and plush now. I need to come in and clean up behind it so that there is a demarcation, a line of demarcation where it ends and where the creek is. But all my drift roses back here are getting ready to bloom. They're all shades of red and pink. And of course, rose campion, lilies, irises have bloomed in this bed. And then the roses are starting to bloom in this bed. I have two Philadelphia's plants or mock orange plants. That's what this white blooms, and they smell like citrus blooms. There's another one right over here. So this is Kaleidoscope Opal Rose. See how the different colors? That's why it's called a kaleidoscope. It's got a variety of colors. My hydrangeas are looking good. Should have some blooms before too long, sometime in June. This is Sweet Drift. Look at the blooms on this thing. Isn't that pretty? More lilies, tradescanthia, hydrangeas, rose campion. I have some Queen Anne's lace that's getting ready to bloom. Also, there's the other mock orange and another of the Kaleidoscope Opal. I have 3 of these Kaleidoscope Opal roses. And I think it's 10 of these drift roses back here. Another sweet drift mixed with a white drift. That's how I got it from the store. and that's a pink knockout rose. I need to come in because I've since weeded this, but it's this, that fern looking thing is called vetch, hairy vetch. It's a weed. I need to come and get this under control before it takes over this bed. Those are white alliums back there. More of the rose campion and some more drift roses. So this bed is a lot of repetition to make an impact. When you have a big space that you're trying to landscape, it makes sense to have repetition so that we don't have issues with lack of cohesion. So you'll see the shrubs repeat, the roses repeat, and so you have the same colors periodically popping up in this bed. Something that I didn't show you is my Zephyrin Druin rose. This is the Zephyrin Druin rose. Some more damask rose back there. See, right there. These are my azaleas and hydrangeas. Oh, I'm gonna get a couple of blooms this year. Look, right there, and right here, and right there. I was concerned because we'd had a frost, and I didn't cover anything. I don't run out into the garden and cover because I just don't have time. There's so much going on, and I just trust that God will take care of it, and that's what I do. I just leave it be. Feel like if we need to have a frost, he knows. So once the AC is put in, which should be in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna finish putting in rocks around this bed, and then it'll make more sense. We used to have landscape timber as the border, but I didn't like it because it was starting to fall apart. So I removed it, and I'm gonna put rocks like there. This entire bed has rocks except for here. So when we do this part back here, we're going to finish here as well. Let me show you this sweet shrub over here. It all smells like pineapples and grapes back here. And these were here on the property along with these wild azaleas when we moved in. We are now over by the shed beds, and the only thing of interest on this side right now is the dianthus that's blooming really nicely. I need to come and trellis up these rose sprouts that are doing okay. And then I have powdery mildew on this rose really badly. Look it. It's covered in buds and it's going to bloom, but it's just covered in powdery mildew. I need to treat that. This rose over here is a coral knockout rose, and then in front of it is a coral drift rose. So the two together are looking really pretty at the moment. This baptisia and this irises, there are two different irises here. I'm going to put a picture up and you'll see. Was looking really, really lovely. That is a penstemon there, that burgundy leaf. It's not blooming yet, but it's getting ready to. And then this is Gara, more of those wispy flowers, like I stated, that makes it pretty in a cottage garden. More damask rose, tradescanthia, and then around the patio, I have white roses. This is a floribunda rose. There's an iceberg rose, and then there are drift roses. I need to come in here and cut back this mulberry that's trying to grow. You can see there are loads of buds on these roses. They're just beginning to bloom. I just took the leaf blower and cleaned off the patio, and you can see it's full of those things from this tree. Can't wait for it to be done. with dropping its seeds. Ugh. So here is my Sarah Bernhardt peony. This is an orange petals iris, but look at, isn't she stunning? She is, and there are 3 more blooms over there and 2 more over here. More of the iceberg and floribunda roses over here. Not much going on down there blooming. There is some penstemon. Over here, we have the Charles de Mille rose. Charles de Mille. This is another wine and roses weigela. Another of those cherries jubilee baptisia. And that's a pink knockout rose. Around the fountain garden, the Nyphophia, or the red hot pokers, are beginning to do their thing. This is Sweet Rose of mine. And the weeping redbud, Ruby Falls, has leafed out. Sweet Mademoiselle is getting ready. This is a rose to bloom. I transplanted this piece of Nyphophia, or red hot poker, in the spring. And look, she is rewarding me with blooms. I wanted to have it on the 4 corners, so I have it here, here, there, and now here. This is another Sweet Mademoiselle. See, by the time you get to tour next week, she will have bloomed. This is an Earth Angel rose. So pretty, y'all. All right, let me take you back here. More penstemon. This rose hasn't opened up yet. These lilies are coming. You see how this dappled willow has filled in nicely here in this corner? That's what I wanted. There's a dahlia there. There's a dahlia here, back there. And this is a Julia Child rose. Y'all, look at all these pretty blooms. And then this is one of the last irises to bloom in the yard. It's this orange one. It's a late bloomer. And then it has these Trogan lilies behind it, and they complement in color. These are knockout roses. Gave them a good hard pruning this year, and they're rewarding me with tons of bloom. Let's go around the memorial garden, finish up our walk. Nyphophia, red hot poker. These 2 are more established than the other 2, and you can tell by the number of bloom stalks that it's sent up and how wide they are. There's a dahlia here and a dahlia there as well. And this is Moonlight Romantica. This is Bolero. Most of the roses in this bed are from Star Roses and Plants because they do well with black spot and the heat of Georgia. So Bolero, Moonlight Romantica, Sweet Mademoiselle, Sweet Mademoiselle. I just planted a 3rd Sweet Mademoiselle right over there. This is Cream Veranda, Bolero. No, I'm sorry. This is Princess Charlene de Monaco, Bolero, and this is Cream Veranda. More penstemon. You see how tall these ones are? All of these penstemon were split this year and spread out around the garden. Now this is my main dahlia bed, and it's got about 24 dahlias from down there all into the bed around the fountain. The fountain bed, I had a different look for it this year than is being executed. There are a lot of poppies, babies, but it looks like they didn't get enough cold. And the alliums, those purple things that you see, I'll show a picture. They're just not blooming as tall, and that usually happens when they don't get enough sun. So, not sun, excuse me, when they don't get enough cold hours. So I know next year they'll be taller, and then you'll have these little purple balls in here, and it'll look really pretty with the purple grape poppies. So looking forward to that show next year because they both will overwinter and then come back for me. See, all my dahlias. Can't wait for the show. This is a LaBarbe Bluebeard. Usually blooms blue flowers. I gave it a nice pruning and it's flushed out beautifully. The chartreuse color is a nice contrast. All right, let's go back here. That is a Winecraft smoke bush or smoke tree, ginger wine 9 bark, and both of them are doing well. This area is filling in. We have a lot of wash in the garden. The water comes down and runs through here. So I've been planting things in here to help with that. This iris is one of my favorites. Y'all look at her. She is called Haunted Hearts. And that mauvey pink color with the penstemon next to her and this Olivia Rose Austin here is just giving me all the feels. I'll show you a better picture. And then of course here's the Walker's Low catmint. More penstemon there and here, and more of that Haunted Heart iris. That's what all of this here is. So eventually this is going to be like a cloud of that penstemon will grow and it'll be really pretty. There are 6 of these penstemon through here to give a backdrop and tie in with the plum of that ornamental plum tree. My Veronicas, 1, 2, there should be a third one over here, but no, it's right here. The armadillo helped himself to a lot of plants last year. But yes, it's coming along nicely. Need to add some color to this pot. Haven't decided what I'm gonna get yet, but I need to get some things. Here is a popcorn rose, named that way because of the color. It was a gift from hubby. Here's a Darcy Bustle rose. I'll show another picture of it. More of the Walker's Low catmint. Dianthus. And this is a petite knockout rose. And I know that there are people who are like, oh, I'll never plant a knockout rose. You're missing out because you'll have nonstop color in your garden when your other roses are pausing in between shows. This light color rose here is Emily Bronte. I'll insert a picture for you. And let me show you another shepherdess rose right here. Isn't that stunning? This is a iceberg rose that has some black spot. And this is a Jacquemini clematis. This is what that should look like. More the iceberg climbing rose with the Jacquemini clematis here as well. So let me take you closer to this damask rose so you can see what it looks like. And the smell, y'all. Isn't this stunning? So that's what's going to happen on the corner that I told you I transplanted one to. There's another iris that's still blooming, but it is also almost done. Salvia, it's a perennial salvia. I'm not quite sure the variety. Comes back every year for me. So cottage garden plants that I have are salvias, yarrow, penstemon, foxgloves, of course roses, catmint because it plays nicely with the roses, spirea, that's what this big white shrub is, and of course I have hydrangeas in here. They just haven't started to bloom yet. Another one of those cherries, Jubilee, Baptisia. I'm also adding some pink lemonade, Baptisia, to the garden. A nice lady who's a follower on Instagram and who I've met in real life has gifted me one. I purchased one recently, and then I have another place that's holding for me I need to go pick up. So that'll be 6 in the garden, and then it'll do what I want it to do. Because I garden in such large spaces, it helps when I, like I say, repeat. Excuse my cart, I'm still planting out seedlings that I started from seed, but can't you just... Over here, I have this heirloom yellow rose. In my boxwoods and my hydrangeas. Aren't they pretty? So, so pretty.